I'd like to start by asking something of you, the audience. I'm going to describe a conversation I'm having more often in the classroom with my students at a university level. And I want you to pretend you're listening to this question and think about how you would respond to this particular student, as it happens more often in me and my situation at the university level. It's just after a lecture in Kyoto, where I work. One of your best students comes up to you after class, sharp, let's call her Yumi. She pulls out her laptop and shows you a project she's been working on. Something about dis and misinformation online. It's beautiful. It's well-cited, it's well-structured, the artwork looks fantastic. She's able to show all the different nuances that go into what inform the report. But then, she openly admits to you that her AI agent did the research, did the translations, did the background work, created her slides, and made the presentations for her. Then, she asked you, "Professor, I checked everything, I made sure it's all correct. What was I supposed to learn by doing all this myself?" See, all of these questions, these things that are happening around AI, this particular question is not asked a lot of students. It's kind of rare because most students are doing it without even asking this particular question. And what we're getting into is a dangerous thing that's happening more often when students aren't getting the wrong answer, which we need more of. They're getting the right answer quickly, accepting it, and not knowing why, and moving on. There seems to be this gap widening in this age of fruitful intelligence that we're coming upon, right? You give up a choice, you give up some inference to an automated system, you accept it, you move on, a little gap opens. And over time, you lose some fundamental ability to do certain things, and that gap widens and widens into what I'm naming the automation abyss. You know, AI is probably the best learning tool ever made, but it's also the best learning avoidance tool at the same time. So, it's not just Yumi in the classroom. Let's boil this down into something we can really understand. There's also a Kenji. Kenji knows AI back and forth. He understands the tool. He is a master of technology. And he is doing the same thing that Yumi's doing. But he's not coming to me at the end of class to say, what was I supposed to learn? He is using the tools to make himself more efficient, get better grades, and move through the world at a quicker and quicker pace that is demanded of him. But Yumi looks at Kenji and thinks, well, I want to do those things myself. I want to struggle through those things myself. But there's a conversation. They both don't quite understand what the others are getting at. And the fundamental problem I face, and a lot of educators all over the world, is that it's very difficult, if not impossible, to design effective learning for students when both of these paradigms are playing out in the classroom simultaneously. So we're getting in this loop. I've been on the edge of educational technology. I'm a learning futurist for the past 20 years. And AI has gone from 0 to almost universal adoption in just 3 years. The quickest I've ever seen. And what's pushing it is this loop, right? It's compelled use. You want to get faster. You want to be more efficient. You want, in the student's case, want better grades. You're competing against somebody else that's using that technology, so you feel compelled to use it. That data is collected. The system's improved, and we go quicker and quicker down into this loop. And this loop, especially in educational contexts, can be a virtuous cycle or a vicious cycle, depending on how it's used in the context. Competence rises on one end, confidence on the other. On the other side of this, though, we have us, humans, right? We're the other side of this automation loop that we're going into. And a lot of researchers, educators believe that agency, our ability to choose, is the countermeasures to all of this automation. But agency is a very tricky subject. It's very nuanced. So for us, for educators, I want to put this in a way that's best understood. Think about Kenji and Yumi. There's two types of agencies going on here. You have the instrumental agency. This is what we're really good at already in educational context. You teach them to put in front of the tools, learn how to use them, how they can make you more efficient. But Yumi is on the other side of this equation, right? She has a different type of agency. She's wondering what the exact thing that she's trying to do to have personal growth. She's having the metacognition to think about her own learning journey and what she's doing in that process. And this gap that's widening has a lot of different symptoms that are arising, right? We have the cognitive offloading. Teachers don't know how to assess students if students are using AI in some cases and not others. Human connection is starting to fragment because we rely not just for our academic purposes, but our emotional ones as well. So all these things are happening, right? And so what I did as a learning futurist, I take these two things, agency and automation, I pit them in what learning futurists love to do is scenario building. Think about all the different vast futures that might come about if we have agency, or we don't have agency, we have over-automation, and we don't have automation. And it all comes down to a couple of different things. Yumi and Kenji start to have different futures depending on how deep they go into their own ways of using this technology, their relationship with this technology. And what I see here is on the automation side, I'm pessimistic, and on the human agency side, I'm optimistic. Both are simultaneously possible in all of these futures that we can have with AI, especially in education. On the macro level, the big level, right, we have big tech, we have economic incentives, a surveillance economy, the business models of attention. They're all seeping into these platforms and nudging and pushing education and the whole stack of education, from teaching to learning to managing our institutions. But on the micro side, I have hope. I see superpowers in students that are able to spar and wrestle with AI, that are gaining new knowledge and growing faster and faster, and institutions that are taking some agency for themselves and their students use this technology at the same time. So I'd like to give us some suggestions. First, for leadership. We're already doing a good job, industry is helping with this, about putting tools in front of students and having them learn how they're used, what's under the hood. But we need to focus a little bit more on the Yumi agency portion of this. That means thinking about ethical issues, societal impact, personal issues. But institutional leaders need to give agency to their teachers and their staff as well at the same time. Every time university relies on a particular platform or company to institute their AI learning, they're also being Kenji, basically, asking the AI to write their own essay, right? So we need to use this time when we have the ability to get some digital sovereignty, especially in our higher education institutions. For educators, we're already learning a ton of great things about how we can approach learning design to help our students when they can use AI, when they feel compelled to use AI, or when they really just want and understand they need to grow and struggle and learn in this particular situation. Your policies are great, but they're not enforceable. You can tell them not to use AI, so we really need to restructure the way that we give assignments, the way we assess assignments. That means looking at the process rather than the final product, and think about the holistic overview, the helicopter view of each particular student as they go through our platforms. But for all of us, especially students, we just need to simply notice and take an audit, a personal audit of our relationship with AI as it comes down to our learning. If all of the AI tools suddenly disappeared today, what would you lose the ability to do? And the answer to that particular question, if you do it enough, is the size of your own personal abyss. The automation abyss is not about AI, right? It's about us thinking and understanding our agency of choice moving forward. And thinking about education, we really need to make that choice for us. Let's do it now, together. Thank you.